Audiences are hungry for visual journalism, but most local newsrooms are cutting staff, underfunding visuals, or leaving these decisions to leaders with no visual background. Recently, E&P reported on a study showing that paradox right now in our industry. 85% of editors say visuals are a top priority, yet only 31% employ a full-time staff photographer. That disconnect doesn't just weaken stories, it weakens trust and engagement. That's where, hopefully, the National Press Photographers Association comes in. For nearly 80 years, NPPA has been a leading voice for visual journalists, advocating for their rights, setting ethical standards, and training the next generation. Joining me today, Marky Johnson teaches photojournalism, multimedia journalism, video journalism, and graphic design courses, and serves as the Chief Technology Officer of Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia. He has personally told me he is a 35-year member of the NPPA and currently the landlord. Also with Mark is Lauren Steinbrecher. Lauren is an Emmy Award-winning journalist recognized for crafting compelling, impactful stories that resonate with viewers. Her work has been featured by local and international outlets and showcased on NBC, Fox News, Court TV, BBC Radio, and Crime Watch Daily. She's currently a reporter and host at PBS Utah. And Lauren, I didn't get it. How long have you been a member of NPPA? You currently serve as vice president. I know that.
So I've been with NPPA a little bit less long than Mark, since actually 2018. So I wish it was sooner. I say a lot of times to people that I feel like my career didn't really start until I joined NPPA. But unfortunately, I was like several years into my career when I joined, but I'm glad I'm here now.
Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're diving into why so many local newsrooms say visuals are a top priority, but still don't invest in them. We'll hear what NPPA is doing to close the gap, plus surprising advice every publisher needs to hear. Stick around. This conversation's about to get very visual. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Walter Hussman. Our family has been in the news business for over 100 years. Journalism includes two parts: reporting the news and providing opinions. But in recent years, there's been too much opinion appearing in news reporting. This has eroded public trust in news reporting to the lowest level of any U.S. institution. To address this, we started a nonprofit, the Center for Integrity in News Reporting.
The Center for Integrity in News Reporting, CFINR, is on a mission to rebuild public trust in journalism, one newsroom and one classroom at a time. We champion the effort to have news organizations and journalism schools create and prominently display their own clear, concise statements of core journalistic values. Learn more by visiting the Center for Integrity and News Reporting site at cfinr.org.
All right, guys, let me kick off with the Catchlight study. It shows a disconnect. Newsrooms want more visuals but aren't investing. Let me start with you, Mark. What's your reaction to those findings? How did you feel when you heard about that?
So I wasn't at all surprised in there. If you go back and look at the research dating all the way back to the late 1980s, early 1990s, there was some eye tracking studies that were done by the Poynter Institute. They published a report in 91 or 92, I think, that showed 85% of newspaper stories that had visuals associated with them were read. And if I recall correctly, it was 17% of stories without visuals were read. So if you had photography or graphics that were going with your stories, there was a massive increase in the number of readers that were going to be taking a look at this. We live in a very, very visual world. The human brain is wired to store memories visually. And I do this with my students all the time here at the University of Georgia. If I ask them to think about their best friend, it's not their name or their email address or their Finsta account handle that pops into their heads. It's what they look like. We store memories visually, and that is one of the best ways to be able to tell stories is through visuals. The oldest permanent form of human communication, it's not writing, which all of my writing colleagues here at UGA get frustrated when I point this out. It's visuals. It's the paintings of the hunt that are on the caves and on the walls of the caves in France and around the world.
Hey, Lauren, were you surprised, or did you see this disconnect just through your experience at NPPA and beyond?
I'm not surprised either. And I think a lot of people don't really maybe realize on a conscious level like how important visuals are, and how people consume information. I think, especially with social media, and we're getting things through video and visuals, and whether people say that's how they want it or not, that's how they are instinctively consuming it. And I think when you're watching a story versus reading something, you're seeing somebody's facial expression, you're seeing what's around them, things that you really can't get just by reading words. And also to emotions. And when you are seeing that emotion, you're seeing a picture that tells a powerful story, just in one image, you feel something versus if you're just reading about it.
Mark, we do a lot of reporting at E&P on if you ain't in social media, you ain't anywhere right now if you want to pick up a younger audience. And I know there's a lot of people going, duh. But then I see these posts when newspapers or news publishers just do auto posting and you just catch the headline and a logo of their paper when they're trying to capture attention on Instagram or even Facebook or LinkedIn or even, God forbid, TikTok, where you have to create a video. Mark, how are you seeing this now? Is this, I mean, do you agree with this? Number one, you better be visual or you're not going to pick up a younger audience. And two, how are you training on that at the university? I'm curious.
Boy, the training here at the university is extensive. So let me put that aside for a moment. And I want to go back and I'll reiterate what Lauren said a moment ago, that visual storytelling is very emotional. To be able to see the people who are impacted by stories, to be able to see for themselves, helps our audience have a deeper level of engagement, a deeper level of understanding. It helps them make better choices when they have to deal with elected officials or go into the voting booths here. As far as the way social media impacts this, I deal with 18 to 22-year-olds every single day. They're in and out of my office. They're in and out of my classroom. They are a very, very visual identity group there. They want to see things. They need to see it to believe it. They're not going to take the word of a translation of a reporter. Sometimes is one of the phrases that I've heard there. To be able to stop somebody from doing this, to get them to pause and to read a little bit deeper, to get the detailed information that can pair so well with the visuals is absolutely critical. And I think if you're using social media and you're just using your graphic or your logo and you're thinking that that's going to grab eyes, it's not. Folks are going to tune that out really, really quickly.
Lauren, hang on. I'm going to get to you in a moment, but I'm going to stay with Mark on this. All right, now you got AI. Can't you just generate some kind of an image? Why do you need a photographer? That's expensive. What?
Let me ask you this question. This is for all the reporters that are in the audience today. Let's say you forgot to ask the mayor a question after the news conference. Is it okay to just make one up? Is it okay to just take a couple of old quotes, a couple of words from this one, a couple of words from this one, mashed together into a sentence and push it out there? I mean, any journalist is going to tell you that absolutely not. That's not correct. Journalists are expected to present an honest reporting of what happened in different situations. And the AI challenge comes in many, many different directions. One, if you're presenting something as a synthetic image, right? You're using generative AI to produce something that looks like a photograph, but that moment in time didn't exist, you're lying to your audience. And eventually the audience is going to look at this and go, I can't trust them anymore. And the only thing that news organizations have at the end of the day is credibility. It's one of the reasons that one of the cornerstones of the National Press Photographers Association is that code of ethics, that 10-part code of ethics that all the members of the NPPA ascribe to, that every student in the visual journalism classes here at the University of Georgia ascribes to. That tells our audiences that you can trust us, that we are going to do our best to honestly, ethically, and appropriately report out these stories.
All right, Lauren, let's talk NPPA. You may not find this surprising, but for years we did salutes in E&P for what we called shooting stars, where we had people nominate their photographers, their shooters, and send the graphics. And then we would have a wonderful display of their work. But over the years, we get less and less and less entries to the point where we had to kill it. What is NPPA doing now to advocate for visual journalists? I buy into everything you're saying. We're still doing a center spread that we've done for decades at E&P of a photo of the month to show a local visual, but so few are are even investing in this? What are the priorities at NPPA? How are you supporting local newsrooms, their photographers, and their videographers in today's ecosystem?
Yeah, and really, I think probably what you're seeing is, I think, reflective of the industry is, we have seen less photographers as newsrooms downsize, and I think that ends up making the work of the NPPA even more critical to keep this alive, because it is such a crucial industry that everybody uses, whether, no matter what they think of visual journalism or the news or not, people turn to us, especially in huge moments of history, and we are documenting history. We are, what we capture is going to be what people look back on in the future. And so at the NPPA, what we are really working on is we're educating and training the next generation of visual journalists, and not even just basic training, but how to craft and tell amazing stories through capturing images that are going to be powerful. So, not just, anyone has a camera phone, and they take amazing quality photos and videos. In fact, I do a lot of work on an iPhone, but it's knowing how to capture. It's knowing, how to compose something, where to point that, and how to get it in a way that people will feel something when they see it. It'll have an impact, and they'll remember it for years to come. And so that is one thing we focus on, is just that quality, educating the next round, or even, people who are in the industry now who want to improve their skills. But we also have a huge component that is legal advocacy. And, I am not a lawyer, and that's why we have two of them, Mickey and Alicia, who you mentioned, who are great at what they do, and they are always involved in things like, for example, the Film Act, which gives our visual journalists access to national parks, and making it easier to film in those spaces. And I live in Utah, where we have 5 of them. And, they're also involved in a lot of just journalist rights, where we have the right to film. If we are out in public and we are being, questioned by, certain agencies or anything, making sure that there are laws in place that protect our right to do our job out in the field. And so we have different components. We've got the education, we've got the advocacy. We also focus a lot on students, and that's a priority for us moving forward, as we, want to recruit young people to stay interested in our field, and why they should go into our field. And so we work with colleges like UGA, obviously our main one, but we have student chapters at other colleges across the country, just to inform the youngest potential future visual journalists.
All right, Mark.
Mike,
so
if I can just
go
real
ahead.
quick add on to that. There's 2 other things that NPPA has worked on. Mickey Osterreicher and Alicia Calzada, those 2 general counsels for NPPA, both of them worked extensively with the FAA on Part 107 licensing, which is the drone certification process. And that has impacted not just journalists around the country, but all different types of visual storytellers. So that certification process was something that they worked with the FAA on. And even more importantly, and this is going to be important to almost your entire audience, is the Small Claims Copyright Court Act. That act took nearly a decade to get through Congress and get signed into legislation that allows content creators, copyright owners, to be able to go before a tribunal at the Copyright Office instead of having to go before a federal judge for copyright claims. It has massively lowered the cost of a copyright infringement case at this point in time. And these benefits that the NPPA has been working for that benefit their members also benefit lots and lots of other content creators and publishers around the country.
Many small local publishers ask reporters to shoot photos themselves. Sometimes we get submissions for photo of the month here at ENP from the publisher themselves, who went out on their own to shoot. Is there anything lost when visuals aren't captured by a trained professional? And I know I'm asking for your opinion on this. And how can the NPPA maybe bridge that gap? Should more local reporters or publishers seek out the NPPA to make sure they're doing their jobs right in order to have that engagement in the stories, and of course have that, how did you say it, that stamp in time that we so necessary it's so necessary in today's world. Mark, looks like you're nodding your head. Do you want to take this one first? Then we'll throw it to Lauren.
Yeah. So I guess it was 15 years ago that we all started getting these smartphones. The introduction of the Apple iPhone in 2007 had publishers all across the country saying, I don't need my photo staff anymore. I'm going to get iPhones for all my reporters, and that's our visuals. There's a couple of challenges with that. One, the ability to craft a story with words, to craft a story with audio, to craft a story with video, or to craft a story with still photographs is a very unique skill set. And it requires a deep understanding of both the technical medium, but as well as the compositional medium, the way to sequence video clips or stories or audio clips together to be able to compel an audience to engage and react to something. The other challenge is the right time to be recording video or making photographs is not always the same right time as for when you want to do an interview. And so to be able to say your reporters can just make photographs, the photography, if the primary challenge, the primary responsibility of that individual is text-based reporting, the photography is always going to be secondary and afterthought. One of my colleagues here, Andrea Bruce, who's our new Knight Chair in Visual Journalism, this is an inaugural position for us. One of her focuses is on digital and visual first news desert publications. It is, we believe, easier to take somebody who is an excellent visual storyteller and help them build up their writing chops than it is to go the other direction around, to take a really, really strong reporter and help them build up their visual chops. It's two different sides of the brains there.
Lauren, take it from here. How can a local publisher better partner with NPPA to just have a better medium and a better relationship with their audience?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm someone who I'm not actually strictly a photojournalist. I'm a producer, I'm a host, I'm a reporter. I also do filming as well. I come from a local news background and being a multimedia journalist. And I think it's really important that even people, if photojournalism isn't your main job or that's not what your main focus is in this industry, they can still be members of the NPPA and they can still build their skills in that area. And I think it is important because as we see local publishers who are sending out staff, I mean, if those staff members were getting that training, they were, in a community engaged in that portion of the industry, then they could learn. They could build upon basic knowledge of pulling out your iPhone and capturing something, but again, capturing it in a way that is going to be compelling. Knowing, how to speak to someone for a story, but then also how to capture them. They are two different things, as Mark mentioned, and they are different skill sets. And that is why we kind of focus on that visual aspect of it. But we have members who are reporters. We have members who are not in the industry, but just want to support, our First Amendment rights and NPPA and our ability to go out and capture those visuals in our community. And so we appeal to a wide range of people. And yes, we focus on visual journalism, but absolutely, I think publishers, and people who that may not be their main portion of their job, it's still such an important piece to know and to have that background, even if you aren't yourself going out and doing that every day.
Mike, if I can add one more thing in there.
I was just going to ask you, do you want to add to that? Go ahead, sir.
I do. You're asking us, what should publishers be thinking about here when it comes to visuals? And I think publishers, editors, everybody involved in the storytelling process, when they're thinking about visuals, they have to ask one simple question. Am I thinking about visuals as something I'm going to use to illustrate the story and advance knowledge, or am I using visuals to decorate the story so that hopefully somebody will just look at the overall story? And those are two very different approaches there. And my personal feeling is that if you're a journalist, you're there to illustrate the story. You're there to tell people what happened. We're not there to decorate around the edges of the social media feed or the digital or the print display. You want to be there and be actively thinking about visual storytelling. And that is a big challenge. If you're there trying to listen for quotes and looking for expressions at the same time, your brain is going in two different directions. So it is a challenge.
Marky Johnson, I guess you're a board member at NPPA. I want to make sure I get this right. And
I am not a board member at NPPA. I'll explain this very quickly. 10 years ago, the National Press Photographers Association decided that they wanted to move into a different type of physical environment. They owned property in North Carolina. We gave them a proposal to relocate the NPPA here to the University of Georgia. So for the last 10 and a half years, the association has been headquartered here in the journalism building in Athens, Georgia. So I am their landlord, which means that I go down every month. I go down and I remind them that their $0 worth of rent is due. Make sure that check gets deposited, and we partner with them on all kinds of different things. We've run drone journalism schools. We've done First Amendment and public spaces sessions. We bring our students to NPPA events around the country. We administer their annual photojournalism competition. The Best of Photojournalism competition is run through the University of Georgia now as well. So officially, I am a member and the landlord for the association.
And Lauren Steinbrecher, you are vice president of NPPA, and you're not located in Athens, is that correct? You're in Utah, you said?
Yes, yeah, and I would like to add that Mark may say that he's not officially a board member and that he is the landlord, but we on the board consider him much more than that. So, I'm in Utah, and our members, we're across the world. We have members internationally as well, but our board is also across the country. We have people in every single time zone, so that's always interesting when you're trying to schedule a meeting. But it also shows, I think, how diverse and how widespread that we are, even just on the board.
Mark, Lauren, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. And please keep us up to date at ENP, what NPPA is up to, and let us help amplify your message to the industry.